Hello Malaysia, hello world. Apa khabar? Apa khabar? My opening salutation is commonly known to most following us on YouTube channel, the one and only ECM Talk. Thank you again for your support and viewing, everyone. I'm Rajesh Shahrul, your host. Today's topic is argument necessary? An argument is not the same as a quarrel. The goal of an argument is not to attack your opponent or to impress your audience. The goal of an argument is to offer good reasons in support of your conclusion, reasons that all parties to your dispute can accept. Nor is an argument just the denial of what the other person says. Even if what your opponent says is wrong and you know it to be wrong, to resolve your dispute, you have to produce arguments. And you haven't yet produced an argument against your opponent until you offer some reasons that show him to be wrong. When you are arguing, you will usually take certain theses for granted. These are the premises of your argument. An attempt to show that if one accepts those premises, then one ought also to accept the argument's conclusion. It sounds easier said than done. Anyway, let us hear more from the experts themselves. I have here with me Miss Aida and Kenny, lecturers from a renowned private university in Kuala Lumpur. Hello Aida, hello Kenny.
Hello.
Welcome back to our ECM Talk. Apa khabar?
Good.
Bye-bye.
Good.
Yeah, you have no choice, you better. You both were here on our earlier programs on some exciting topics. Now I have something perhaps equally exciting and fun. Let's go for it, shall we?
Okay.
Sure.
I have a few questions here to share with you both and hope you get some interesting response. May I start with you, Aida?
Sure.
All right. Some issues are unimportant and some are extremely important. How you differentiate them?
Issues that are important and unimportant.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the person. The idea of importance always comes in individualized manner. What is important to me would not be maybe as important to you. What is very important to you may not be as important to me. So it has to be totally individualized manner, or it has to be the case at stake at that particular time. So if you were to talk about important or not, I would say things like the end of the day, it's about whether that particular issue needs to be resolved or not. If it's need, then I guess it's important. If it doesn't, I guess maybe less important. I'm not so sure about not important, but for me, every issue is important in that sense. As long as it has to do with us, it should be important at a certain point. But
Otherwise, that issue shouldn't be raised in the first place.
if it's an issue that is discussed, then I guess it's important in a certain point, but lesser or more in that sense. If it needs to be resolved, then as fast as you can, something like that.
Yeah. Kenny, why people argue? What do you think are the main reasons of arguments?
I guess I do agree with like what Miss Aida shared. Like often when it comes into arguments, it must be meaning something to either of the parties. That's why we insist of getting our message to the other persons. So I guess that could be one of the reasons that I'm trying to actually get you to either seeing from my perspective or I'm trying to get you to understand from my point. But however, probably the differences between our perspective or our opinions that leads to arguments.
So there's no specific reason or reasons of an argument.
Too many.
Too many.
Reasons for arguments, correct. Just to add to whatever that Kenny has mentioned, there will be too many, not just one. Sometimes the beginning of an argument is something that is very important, but the prolong of an argument, sometimes it's just a matter of an attitude.
Correct.
So reasons can be too many.
That will come out eventually.
Exactly. As a normal human being, the moment people say, I don't agree with you, you're wrong, the moment we say that, we become offended. You see, we feel like...
Precisely.
We become like, why do you say so? Why do you think that? No, just anything. So when that happens, you are okay, this is how I see it. Most of the time, arguments happens because not so much of the issue at stake.
Exactly.
It's because how you say it,
Yeah.
the tone that you're using, the vocabs that you're choosing. So those are one of the biggest reasons why arguments are prolonged.
Yep.
A lot of times it's supposed to be there, focused, and solved. That's it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it becomes like too long because you keep on choosing the wrong tone, the wrong body language,
Yeah.
or the
You-
wrong vocabs. in that
You
sense.
tend to get carried away.
Correct.
Simply because then that's where argument turn into quarrel.
Correct.
Am I right?
Or you can say things like, for example, it can be as simple as, the trigger is just the color of the paper.
Yeah.
And then we start discuss about the color of paper,
Yeah.
and then the way that we talk, or we get driven to another topics, and then we start about talking.
Yeah.
So that become like a cycle that we keep arguing, and then often it's just the way that how we communicate and how we are trying to get the other person to listen.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
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 At the end of the day, it's being cool, calm, and collected into any argument, I suppose.
True.
Yeah,
Yep.
the so-called
Personally, for
argument
me,
or
the most
conversation.
important
yeah.
thing is listen.
Listen.
You have to really listen. If you're not, there's a huge difference between you listen and you listen to reply. That's a
Yep.
huge difference between these two. When you're listening, you really listen, trying to understand whatever that this particular person is saying. When you listen to reply, as you are listening, your head is so busy trying to maybe find faults or finding
Yes.
the next point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
Typical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're practically not listening in that sense.
Yeah.
So something along
So
the line.
someone talks to you about apple and you answer about the lion.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't matter
Too
what you're
far-stretched.
saying about
Yeah.
apple.
Yeah.
I'm all talking about lions.
Correct,
Yeah, that's
correct,
what I
correct.
want you.
And that's where it gets into a quarrel.
Correct.
Yeah. And start. You can get physical sometimes.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
This kind of situation happens to every social relationship.
Yeah.
Every. Like name it. Friendship, romantic relationship, teammate,
Yeah.
corporate relationship. Every.
You mentioned romantic relationship.
True.
You guys will be on that for the next.
We keep that later for that. I would have
Since you
read it.
brought it up,
We gotta think about
I
it.
was trying to note
Correct,
it down
correct.
somewhere. Anyway, yes. Yeah, it's true. Everybody wants to have the last say
Correct.
in an argument.
Correct, correct.
By thinking that person giving the last say, I'm right.
Correct.
Correct.
It's some sort of like this. If I have the last say, I win the argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
If you listen to me, I win. Kind
Yeah.
of things.
Yes.
So I'm trying to make you understand me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense. Even there's no conclusion to it, isn't
Correct,
it?
Yes.
correct,
Yes. If
correct.
there's no
true.
conclusion, it doesn't make sense. You just tend to, okay lah.
Oh.
We accept what you're saying. If someone gives in, that's it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. And is this why the reason people get into fights?
Mostly,
Yeah.
I would say mostly a lot of times, for me personally, a lot of times arguments happen because number one, when you feel that you're being threatened, because you think that you're right and people say that you're wrong, so that's when you start to argue. And I'm not saying it's wrong. There are a
Yeah.
lot of moments when you
Yeah,
have to do
true.
it. Okay, for an example, if the topic or if the issue concern is something that has to do with right and wrong, or something that has to do with your principle, for an example, and you know that you have to stand of your principle in that sense, then by all means go ahead and argue.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of moments when we tend to prolong our arguments because we're not ready to say sorry. So, in terms of why people fight or why people argue in that sense, so many reasons.
Yeah.
And as I think it's coming from experiences as well. There are a lot of time when the moment we feel that I just don't want to give in as yet. So that's why you just don't want to say sorry if you're at fault. So you
When-
keep on something like that.
That word sorry, it's always very difficult for someone to even say it, even knowing the fact that you are wrong.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's
correct.
like throwing in the towel by saying the
Yeah.
word you're sorry. Is just that saying to say you're wrong. You admitted that you're at fault. This argument is basically not my fault. It's my fault. By saying the word sorry, I mean, it's something that is not built into our culture, perhaps.
Maybe, but on top of that, there's an interesting finding saying that in a romantic relationship, usually, correct me if I'm
Guys,
wrong.
is it?
That's a topic again.
I think
Oh
it's
my
a guy.
god.
Usually,
Yes.
guys say sorry just for the girl to stop talking. Like, okay, fine, sorry, but you don't even mean you're sorry. This kind of thing. And correct me if I'm wrong. What do you say? I'm so sorry then.
I'm sorry.
Can you say something, Kenny?
I'm sorry.
He did it. Yeah, yeah.
But he doesn't mean it whatever it is. So
Yeah, yeah.
I did.
Okay.
He'll get you later, I'm sure. Yeah. Is it healthy to never argue or argue?
Okay. Wow. Okay. Personally, for me, it's not about that because I've seen many couples who have been together for so long, for so many years, and never argue, and they are healthy. They're having healthy relationship. A lot of times when
Is that realistic?
for me, this is how I view it. Disagreement is inevitable, right? Doesn't matter how close you are with that particular person. Doesn't matter how much you love that particular person. You can't always be in the same page with this person. So, disagreement is inevitable in that sense. But how do you react with your disagreement? That's a different thing.
Yeah.
These
yeah.
couples that I know who has never argued
Yeah.
are those people with very solid communication skills. Means they share. I think it's not right. What do you think?
Yeah.
There's always two ways.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there are people who, if, say for example, you have a couple who never argued, but you bottle up things, of course, you explode one
Yeah.
day or another.
Yeah.
So to say whether it's healthy or not, I think personally for me, it's not about that. It's about whether you really tell what you mean or not. You really say what you mean or not. Something like that. So that's for me, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people tend to hide. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
refrain from speaking out or telling the truth
Yeah.
when they get into that situation.
Yeah.
True.
They run away but especially now, guys, it's with the social media, people tend to get too carried away with the social media communication. So the argument has always been through the social media,
True.
not face to face.
Directly.
True,
Yeah.
true.
There's always been this misperception or miscommunication about that conversation, that communication,
True,
you know?
true.
Which I think that's not healthy. What do you think, Kenny?
Personally, I think if we can resolve, let's say, the arguments face to face, there will be much more better because
Exactly. Yeah.
perceptions, like even the words like big, it's very subjective.
Yeah.
I can think maybe this is a size of big, and you can consider different. So, I mean, if we can get face to face, we can clear out the misunderstandings. It will be better because in the end of the arguments, we want to resolve it. It's not about proving who is right or wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole idea about
Yeah.
why you get into that situation.
Correct.
isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just to add to what Kenny has mentioned, and as you were saying about social media, this is like totally my opinion, but I think there are a lot of what we call as herding in social media instead of you really say what
Yeah.
you actually mean. Okay, whenever we say for example, whenever you are exposed to an event or a person or a product in that sense, there's always groups. Okay, so
Yeah.
this group saying this group saying that, and this
Correct.
group saying this. We, as the one who, say for example, is watching, we just follow which group do we want to go to. So that's for me, that's a sign of herding, or what we call as crowding. You take people to follow you. So these people who are saying things, I think they're not really saying what they're they really mean.
They're
Like, they just
influenced.
follow. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Like-
influenced by this herding
Whatever-
culture.
Correct. Whatever
Yeah.
that is there.
Yeah.
So something along the line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something that is for me worth to be really discussed. Like the idea of herd mentality, for an example.
Right.
Yeah.
It's sort of it comes in a package now,
True,
isn't
true,
it?
Yeah.
With the
true,
social
true,
media
true,
and
true.
everything.
True.
It all just come together.
Yeah.
Yeah, without even realizing it.
Correct. Correct.
Is there such thing as good argument or bad argument?
Wow. Usually, how I view it is like good argument has aims. Bad arguments are like fallacies. Like when you're trying to attack someone. Okay, so that's when bad arguments comes into the picture. For an example, the topic at hand is about us solving one particular issue, but you start to say things like, "What are you doing? Are you that those kind of things. You start to attack that particular person's personality, or you start to attack that particular person's something that has nothing to do with the issue at hand. So for me, that's a bad argument.
I
call it as fallacy because it's not really aimed to solve the conflict that is supposed to be
It's
solved.
out of context.
Yeah, it's out of
Yeah.
context. But you just want to say with the aim that I just want to argue, for an example, or I want to be at the upper hand, for an example.
I see. Like having another attentions by using arguments as a tool.
Correct. So for me, that's how I view good arguments and bad arguments.
You Kenny?
I think I would agree with what Mr. Ida was trying to deliver. Like, it's hard for us to actually even define like whether it's good or bad arguments.
yeah.
Perhaps if you really want to pinpoint to good arguments or bad arguments, and perhaps we can see good argument in the sense that it actually bring benefits to us.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when we have arguments,
Yeah.
I mean, it's normal for us to encounter arguments.
Yeah.
We can't avoid from that, but through the arguments, we manage to learn something from each other. That I will actually say is good arguments. But however, the bad arguments, if you want make it, really look into that, probably it jeopardizes our relationships, or it makes us even get into another arguments.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
we can actually say that.
It's an open-ended situation.
Correct.
Yeah?
Correct.
It'll be
Yeah.
prolonged and like you said, it can end up you guys being enemies.
Correct.
Yeah.
A lot of times
Yeah.
it works that way.
Yeah.
Not just to say teammates or friendship.
Yeah.
I mean, like couples do that
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
Suddenly you are in love, and the next time you were like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I loathe you because of this. Okay, you are attacking the other person instead of trying to gain better understanding of the other party. For an example.
Yeah.
Okay, my last question. Relief.
Okay.
I was waiting for the next questions.
How to fight fair at solving conflicts?
Ooh.
I give it to
Fair.
you.
Anyone we can start. Yes.
I guess if you want to talk about the terms like fair, I mean, both of the party have an opportunity to actually share their opinions. You can say it from there, and also given an opportunity for the other person to listen. So I guess in order to do that, probably it's very important for the both of the party to actually set like and ground rules. Like for example, how would I actually carry out or things that you say probably hurting me? So we can actually set the ground rules like, please don't use certain words on me, or we don't get personal. Do you agree with that? Before we even
get into that
Correct.
into that conversation.
Correct.
Yes,
So I think
yeah.
setting the ground rules for is the first thing that we can do, and then we must do in that sense. So
You're right.
you actually share your ground rules, then we actually agree on that. Then before we actually get into conversations.
It's a good way actually.
Correct.
Yeah.
I would add to that. For me personally, when you are trying to argue with someone, don't ever start your arguments while you are being emotional. You seriously going when you are emotional. Say for example, you are having those negative emotions. You, as a normal human being, we tend to choose wrong words to say because it's going to be emotive, very expressions, those emotive expressions, and we tend to choose wrong tone. It's very
Precisely.
emotional.
Yeah.
So don't start an argument while we are, still
Yep.
worked out, or we're still upset in that sense. As much as we need to prepare ourselves, we have to let the other party prepare himself or herself as
Correct.
well. So that's how I see being fair.
Yeah.
I should not be confronting you just because I've prepared.
Yeah.
You have to prepare yourself as well. So
Yeah.
we should have some sort of like what Ken has mentioned, grounding rules. I'm okay to meet up this
Yeah.
time. Are you okay? So that both of us are prepared for any encounters.
Correct.
And
Correct.
both of us have time to, cool down, and then only we start our arguments in that sense.
They both will be more focused
Correct,
Exactly.
correct,
Yeah.
to
correct.
get into that so-called argument. You both have not failed to amuse me with your answers and feedback. We hear lots of argument for the existence of strange things. Unfortunately, most of those arguments are probably wrong. Fortunately, we have tools in our critical thinking toolbox for dismantling arguments and finding out which ones have a yummy, juicy center worth keeping and which ones are rotten and worthless. If you are unable to tell good arguments from bad ones, you will end up accepting bad ideas as true. Once again, thank you, Ida and Kenny,
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
for being in our program. We hope to see more of you again soon. Yeah.
We'll think of that.
Yes, yeah, we'll think of a topic. Yes. No, my parting words. Let me get both of you, Aida and Kenny, to say this. Yeah.
Okay.
Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Edu Channel Malaysia. Can you do that?
We'll try.
Okay. On a count of 3, you said it together. Okay.
Okay. All right.
1, 2, 3. Looking at the camera. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Edu Channel Malaysia.
Well
Nice.
done. Well done. At one go. Wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Take care and stay safe. Until we meet again. Jumpa lagi. Because sometimes if we just want to do unrecorded, we will not say the same thing again.
Yeah.
Betul, dah
yeah.
mengarut.
Ah.
Make sure you record that.